namaste, to do a quick talk on the gunas, the themes that we're practicing in the studio this week and the next couple of weeks. It's on the gunas. The gunas are, we could say, the underlying or fundamental energies of nature, what makes up nature. And back in the day, around 2,500 years ago, there was a great sage called Kapila, and he gave us this map called the Samkhya philosophy. And in the Samkhya philosophy, it talks about the descent of consciousness and how that works. And he says that when our soul has the grand idea, it's called Mahad, grand idea or great idea, to come down onto earth. When it comes down, it has its particular lessons that it needs to learn or wants to learn in this lifetime. So, Chris comes in this body this time, and possibly something else next time. And for past lives, I was possibly something else, who knows. But in this lifetime, I've come down as Chris in this male body, and you have come down as you, of however you are, whoever you are. And as you come down, we get a particular flavor of gunas, this ratio or ingredients of the energies. And it's not just within us, it's everywhere. We are just consciousness manifested in this vehicle, in this time, and calibrated to this shape and energy and mind. As the consciousness comes down, it starts with mind, but then the mind needs something to experience in this realm, in this lifetime. So then we get the energies, the gunas, and then from that comes out into the elements, and then from there into the doshas. Ayurveda speaks a lot to that. And then the doshas are similar to the gunas, but more in the manifested realm, in the materialistic realm. And then we come out. When we first come down and our souls align, and when we are little kids, we are so in touch with our soul. There's no fears, there's nothing in the way, and we are in line with our happiness. We're just super happy. As we progress and as we start to grow, then we get drawn into different things, depending on how we grow up, all the influences that we take on, and then we get taken away from who we are. Gunas stands for the one which binds us, so binding our true nature and continually concealing that part of us, that part that is always at rest, our soul. It's called Purusha. And the other part that's always in flux and change is called Prakriti. And Prakriti is made up of these three gunas. And as we continue through life, we conceal our soul and then it gets revealed. We may have little awakenings here or there or clearings, and we feel more in line with who we are. We are at our happiest when we are in line with our soul. And it comes to an awareness of how happy or unhappy we are. Are we listening to that part of ourselves, or are we listening more to our ego mind? Are we listening and doing what everyone else around us want? Are we listening to society and doing what they say is right? Taking away from who we truly are, our true nature. So it becomes helpful to understand where we are and how we are. And how do we bring ourselves back? So the three gunas are tamas, rajas, and sattva. Tamas is the energy that brings in darkness and density and delusion. Heaviness brings things together, stuckness. It's the energy that materializes things and brings things into manifestation and into this realm. when we are stuck in a tamasic way of being, we become stuck in unhealthy patterns in our unconscious or subconscious, and we cannot see how to get out of that, and we remain stuck and unhappy or sad or depressed. On the flip side, tamas is good for grounding and calming and creating centeredness within our being when that's required. Rajas is more of the energy of action and change and momentum, passion. When we get passionate, we have all this energy behind us and we can move towards what it is that we like. And when we're truly aligned with who we are and we're doing what we love, then we're so passionate about what we're doing and it comes through in our actions. It's also responsible for agitation and reactivity. Without Rajas though, we can get stuck. We will be stuck and the world would be stuck. We need Rajas. The last one's called Sattva. Sattva is almost like the in-between. When we are in a line with our soul and who we are and we're aligned with that, we feel super clear and super happy. We're able to help ourselves continually move towards that place and help ourselves evolve. We're tapped into our intuition. We're able to see clearly and our discernment power is on point. Connected to our higher intelligence, has a lot to do with our faith and trusting the next thing and not being stuck in where we're at. Honesty and wisdom. So it comes down to us understanding where we are in this, conceal and reveal process. And when we're starting to conceal too much, we're getting stuck in unhealthy patterns, whether it's too rajasic or too tamasic, then we're unhappy either way. And we need to give ourselves more of what we need. Not always is the things that feel good are necessarily good for us. We could be super rajasic. We might be overstimulated and go, and we don't know how to slow down. We're so caught up in bringing stuff in or working or making a lot of money or whatever it may be. And we need to keep that momentum up because we don't understand that we need to rest. And, we might be drinking 6 cups of coffees each and every day just to keep us stimulated. And we could say the coffee feels good, but it's not necessarily good for us. And the more we keep moving towards that, then to end up in things like burnout. Come crashing down. Because we are unable to recognize that for ourselves. The other way, tamas, is when we feel stuck in an unhealthy pattern, but unable to action ourselves out. Getting caught up in watching Netflix all the time or being on the couch and just repeating and watching episode after episode, having all of our goals and dreams out there, but not being able to take action on that, too fearful of what may come up. We're missing rajas in our life. Ideally, we're oscillating or moving between these two to move towards sattva. As we're in sattva, then we can keep seeing what we actually need in the moment. And we keep working towards a subtlety of our being, which is just how it is. The more stuck we become, the more we collect subconscious or unconscious patternings and unresolved stuff, we become more dense and stuck. So how do we know? How do we know where we're at and what we need? There's a couple of ways that the tradition says or talks about in how we can understand whether we're stuck in a tamasic way of being or we're too rajasic. And those two ways are with our emotions and with our meditation practice. If you're not meditating, you should be meditating. Our emotions, when we're rajasic and we get triggered or upset, we outwardly blame the world and we get angry at everyone and everything else. Our inadequacies where we project out to try and change the world around us to suit where we're at. When we're too tamasic with our emotions, we become more internalized. When things don't go well outside, or we get triggered or upset, we tend to go in and tend to blame ourselves for what's going on. Self-criticize and at extreme start to self-harm. That's the extreme of that. When we're in sattva and we get triggered or something comes up, we recognize and see it as a stepping stone instead of a block. We want to evolve and we want to work out the situation that we're in. So we don't go blaming other people, we don't internalize and go into a heap. We work it out and we understand what's required, and it may be a little bit of this or a little bit of that, but we work it out. We can have conversations with the person that we had the thing with, and we just work out what we need. And whatever that means. The other way that we can recognize where we're at is through meditation. So when we come to sit to meditate, if you sit and you're not off, or it's not making sense, or you're super tired, or you just don't get what's the point of sitting there, then you're in tamas. There is no point. Doesn't make any sense. Don't like it. When you feel that you don't have time to meditate, or you're meditating, you just want the thing to end. You feel like you're wasting time. This thing is shit. We just want to get on with what I'm doing. So stuck in the pattern of being overstimulated. Then we're being rajasic. Again, if we're in sattva and we come to meditate, we understand the benefits of that. We get to sit and we get to witness ourselves and understand what's going on. We get to tap into that part of ourselves, Purusha, that part that's eternally at rest. And the more we get to tap into that, the higher our clear seeing is, the higher our perception of ourselves to be able to recognize what we need. And we can keep working towards the subtlety of what we need, what the world needs, the people around us. But at the same time, sattva is still a binding. It's still a binding. It's not our ultimate goal. It is the way to help us out of being rajasic or tamasic, and we want to keep moving towards being sattvic in our being. But eventually, the more sattvic we become, then the more we can help ourselves to transcend even the gunas themselves and realign or tap back into our soul. This is the whole purpose of yoga, is to reconnect with that part of us, remember who we truly are, tap into our Dharma. Where's Dharma? Connected to Dharma, our purpose, know why we're here, and be able to serve ourselves in the most efficient way, purposeful way, learn how to serve ourselves and the people around, and making really good decisions to help not just ourselves evolve, but humanity as well. Hopefully that made sense, and you got something from that. Namaste. I'll see you again soon.